Welcome to the N1 Fitness Podcast. I'm your host as always, Marcus Sadu, and today we are digging into another Ask Me Anything episode where you guys send me questions and I answer them. So if you'd like a question of yours answered on a future AMA episode, you can reach out to me via Instagram or Facebook with your question and I will add it to the queue. Alrighty, let's dig right in here. First question is, what do you do when someone gives you a gift and it's food? Do you throw it away? Do you re-gift it? Eat it anyway? How do you handle this situation? So it really depends what the food is. So for example, if it's chocolate that has dairy in it, I will re-gift it because I don't tolerate dairy. It makes my skin act up and honestly, I'm just too vain to have that happen. So any dairy-based food, I will re-gift. Now, if it's something that I want that I'm going to eat, I'll obviously keep it. But if, for example, I have a specific fat loss goal at the time and it's something that I find super tempting, like, for example, Coconut Bliss ice cream. It's a coconut-based treat. I'm obsessed with that stuff. I have got to get that stuff out of the house because it's just too good. And if it's around, I'm going to eat it. And not only eat some of it, like I'm eating the whole fucking tub. So that stuff is all or nothing with me. If it's something like that, I get it out of the house. So basically the way you can think about this is if someone gives you a treat like a box of chocolates and you really like chocolate and you find it hard to not eat it when it's around, ditch it. Take it to a food bank, re-gift it ASAP, or just toss it in the garbage. And you might be thinking, that's a waste, but we have anything but a food shortage on our hands right now. We actually have the opposite problem. We have too much food, clearly, because we're overeating, we're super overweight, and you might need to reframe your mentality around quote-unquote wasting food or tossing it in the garbage, especially if it goes contrary to your goals. Weight loss is hard enough as it is. Don't make it even harder by keeping tempting treats around. Second question, what are your thoughts on obesity as a chemical imbalance? I know cortisol can make you gain weight, but do you think the solution is getting your eating and weight in check and it'll resolve the imbalance, or take medications to fix the imbalance, which will then make it easier to lose weight? I guess it depends on the condition. So it does depend on the condition, but let's roll with the example of cortisol because you mentioned it. So first off, what is cortisol? Simply put, cortisol is a stress hormone that our adrenal glands secrete in response to stressors. And these could be physical, mental, or emotional stressors. So for example, if you're walking along and someone pops out from behind a corner and scares you, your body releases cortisol. Or if you're incredibly stressed out because you have a big work presentation that's hanging over your head, you secrete cortisol. Now, when we wake up in the morning, our cortisol levels tend to be the highest that they are all day. And this is not a bad thing. Cortisol contributes to our energy levels. And that's why they're highest in the morning and then naturally decline throughout the day so we can sleep at night. So clearly this hormone, cortisol, is very important for our survival. So don't associate cortisol with bad because it's not. It's very much useful. However, we run into issues if it's either too low or too high. So now that we know what cortisol is, we need to address that first statement. I know cortisol can make you gain weight. That's actually not true. High cortisol is associated with weight gain, but on its own, it does not cause weight gain. So the only thing that can cause weight gain are calories. A super easy way to parse this out is if you injected cortisol into somebody's body, they wouldn't just gain weight magically. They'd still need to consume an excess of calories in order to put on fat, meaning cortisol in isolation isn't responsible for weight gain on its own. So as far as should you get your eating and weight in check first and that'll fix the imbalance, or should you take the medication to fix the imbalance, which will then make it easier to lose weight? Eating poorly and being overweight causes all sorts of issues, including hormonal issues. Now, I often hear folks say, I went to my naturopath and I'm getting my hormones balanced because I'm not able to lose weight. Now, these folks are actually going about this backwards. The root cause of the hormonal imbalances are the poor diet and excess weight, meaning you need to fix that first and foremost, and then the hormones should sort themselves out because they follow suit. In this case, wacky hormones are the symptom, not the cause of the weight gain. So fix your diet, get your weight in check, and everything should sort itself out, but it will take time. Next question, what are your thoughts on testosterone boosters? So this is an easy one. They don't work. Drugs, meaning steroids like testosterone and testosterone derivatives, man, those fucking work. And that's why the vast majority of pro athletes take them. Drugs are highly effective. Something like an over-the-counter testosterone booster is not worth your time or money. Next up, how do you feel about working out when you are sick? So I have a super simple and straightforward rule with this. If you're sick from the neck up, feel free to work out. But if you're sick from the neck down, skip that workout. Having said that, feel it out. Don't shoot yourself in the foot by going for a workout when you're at, say, 75% and then having it slow up your recovery and then you're just forced out of action for longer. So feel it out and be sure that you check in with yourself. Look at the long game. So one skipped workout here and there is literally a drop in the bucket. In the big scheme of things, it's nothing. So essentially, I would err on the side of caution here and get back to 100% as soon as possible. But again, if you feel up to it, if you're sick from the neck up, you can work out, but neck down, skip it as a general rule. It's also worth mentioning, personally, I don't consider walking a workout. Walking is a baseline movement must. Your body expects it, and walking can actually speed up your recovery from feeling under the weather, assuming you're not completely couch bound. So you can get some lymph flow going, speed up your recovery process just by getting some general movement in via walking. So I'd recommend that. Next question, how old are you? I just turned 33 in December. Quick and easy one. All right. Next, if you eat twice per day, do you schedule your meals around your exercise to optimize recovery? I understand there's a therapeutic window to eat some carbs and protein 20 to 60 minutes post-workout. So I schedule my meals around work more so than my workouts because work is more important to me than the tiny, and I emphasize tiny, differences in results due to meal timing. So I skip breakfast and I eat lunch and dinner because I like to get straight to work first thing in the morning with some coffee, but that's just my most productive time of the day work-wise, so I sort of protect that. Now, on the other hand, if I was a pro bodybuilder or something like that, I would schedule my meals around my workouts and recovery more so because bodybuilding would be priority number one. However, optimizing that last, 2% as far as protein timing or meal timing goes is just not worth the disruption in my schedule around work to me personally. And you're likely in the same boat because I honestly don't think many bodybuilders listen to this podcast. So now, hypothetically, if I was a bodybuilder and looking to optimize my recovery, just for a thought experiment, I would get some protein in pre-workout, and then I'd likely have another protein and carbohydrate containing meal within a couple hours after my workout. Now, one thing to remember is that digestion doesn't happen that fast. It takes time for your body to break down the food you eat. So for the average person, worrying about eating within these tiny windows is basically missing the forest for the trees. For example, if you eat a meal of, say, chicken, rice, and vegetables, that meal will probably take, say, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 hours to fully digest. So let's say if you had that meal for lunch at noon and you work out at 3 p.m., you're still going to have nutrients trickling into your bloodstream during your workout because digestion takes time. Meaning you don't have to be overly worried about getting food in you ASAP after your workout. I mean, it's not a bad idea to get some protein in after your workout. However, it's not as important as some of the fitness industry folks would have you believe, especially the supplement industry would have you believe because they want you to consume their supplements. So I'll give you a little example of what I did yesterday. Okay, so I woke up and I had coffee first thing and did some work. I went for a workout from 11:30 till 12:30ish, and then I came home and had lunch around 1. Now, assuming all other things were equal, so for example, I ate the same amount of calories, protein, carbs, and fats, but I had some of that protein pre-workout and then had my normal lunch and dinner, I honestly don't think I'd notice any changes in my recovery or even my results. I think the difference around timing in a situation like this is that small. So focus on the big rocks, so total calories and protein, carb, and fat intake, so your macronutrients. And if you want to have protein pre or post workout, go for it. But don't favor meal timing over total calories or total macronutrient intake because it's far less important. So again, focus on those big rocks and the things that matter most. So total calories, macronutrients. That's all of our questions for today, guys. If you'd like your question answered by me on the pod, feel free to send it to me via Facebook or Instagram. And if you're interested in personalized one-on-one nutritional coaching and or workout programming, you can check out the website at n1fitness.com/coaching, which is linked in the show notes below. You can also follow me on Instagram at n1fitness and friend me up at Marcus Sadu on Facebook as well. I hope you guys found this useful. Thanks so much for listening, and I will catch you on the next episode. See ya.